Hashtag, are we losing our golden age? A historian's answer. Something feels off, doesn't it? You open the news, wars on 3 continents, AI moving faster than governments can think, countries slamming their doors shut. Everyone's louder, angrier, more certain. And under the noise, a whisper is getting louder. Are we watching the golden age die in real time? Today we're answering that question with the book Peak Human. What we can learn from history's greatest golden ages by Johan Norberg, one of the sharpest historians of progress alive. He studied 7 civilizations at their absolute peak, and what he found is unsettling. Every single one ran on the exact same 3 lines of code. And when those 3 lines broke, collapse, every single time. By the end of this video, you'll know what that code is, why every golden age dies, and the one quiet choice that decides whether ours survives. Let's get into it. Athens. The backwater that built your brain. Around 500 BC, a rocky little peninsula nobody bet on suddenly gave us Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, democracy, geometry, drama, and Western philosophy. How? 3 engines. 1. Competition. 1,000 tiny city-states stealing each other's ideas. Monolithic empires don't innovate like this. Small rivals forced each other to evolve. 2. Evidence over authority. Aristotle dropped the most dangerous sentence of the ancient world. Plato is my friend, but truth is a greater friend. My teacher can be wrong. The elders can be wrong. Look at the evidence. That single mental shift is the seed of science. 3. Trade. Greece couldn't feed itself, so Athens bet on olive trees. But olive trees take 20 years to produce fruit. 20 years. Plant those, and the last thing you want is war. Self-interest turned Greeks into long-termists and traders. The olive branch became a symbol of peace, not poetry, economic necessity. So what killed Athens? Norberg's answer is brutal. When a democracy loses confidence in itself, when the crowd would rather kill its most annoying thinker than hear him out, you're done. Athens had the first Socrates moment, the moment a civilization would rather kill its most annoying thinker than listen. It wouldn't be the last. Rome. The empire that copy-pasted its way to glory. Athens invented ideas. Rome scaled them. The superpower? Shameless theft. Better ships from Carthage? Copied. Better siege tactics from Greece? Deployed. Better gods, better roads, better roof tiles, integrate, deploy, no pride. And they didn't just copy things. They copied people. If you were talented, Rome eventually made you a citizen. Athens was closed. Aristotle himself couldn't get citizenship. Rome was open. Openness is why Rome lasted 1,000 years while Athens barely lasted 2 centuries. America's founders studied this like scripture. Baghdad. The golden age the West forgot. While Europe crawled through the Dark Ages, the real intellectual capital of the world was Baghdad. Jews, Christians, Persians, Indians working side by side. Their motto: knowledge has no borders. Wisdom has no race. They controlled the trade routes, yes. But the big one? The Great Translation Movement. Arab scholars translated Aristotle, Plato, Euclid into Arabic. Without them, we would have lost those texts forever. Later, Europeans translated them back into Latin. And the Renaissance began. No Baghdad, no Renaissance. Full stop. They didn't just preserve. They gave us the numeral system you use every day, Arabic numerals imported from India. They pioneered the scientific method. Hypothesize, experiment, verify. At its peak, Baghdad had 600 bookshops. That's not elite libraries. That's mass literacy. How did it die? Autocracy, paranoid caliphs, military takeover, trade collapse. And then, fatally, they blamed openness, the very thing that made them great. Remember that move. You're going to see modern politicians do it before this video ends. Song China. The almost industrial revolution. On paper, the Song dynasty looks weak. Small territory, lost wars. But measure by economy, trade, culture, and Song China was the peak of Chinese civilization. Private property. Booming cities. Paper money, movable type printing, gunpowder, the compass. They had every ingredient for an industrial revolution, and didn't have one. Why? Norberg's sharpest insight. The scholars and the craftsmen never merged. Thinkers like Shin Kuo wrote brilliant science. Artisans built incredible things. But they looked down on each other. Scholars thought craftsmen were beneath them. Craftsmen couldn't systematize their knowledge. The wall between head and hand stayed standing. Remember that wall. In 2 chapters, England is going to knock it down and start the modern world. Renaissance Italy and the Dutch Republic. The wall cracks. Italy picked up Baghdad's translation project. And the Medici bankers did something radical. They bought status by sponsoring artists, not by bloodline. Money started competing with nobility. Artists formed guilds, treated art as a craft to be systematized. First crack in the wall. Then Holland grabbed the baton. Tiny country, no resources, surrounded by giants. And for a century they ran the world. Same three codes. Trade posts, not colonies. Religious tolerance. Descartes and Spinoza published in Amsterdam because they couldn't anywhere else. And the middle-class art market. Ordinary merchants buying kitchen scenes, not gods. The Dutch Golden Age lasted about 100 years. Then tolerance shrank, and bigger neighbors caught up. England. The handshake that changed everything. Why did the Industrial Revolution happen in England? Norberg's answer. England imported the entire Dutch operating system and added an island. No giant armies constantly invading. Islands are laboratories for weird ideas. Then three things clicked. Pragmatism and class mixing. English merchants didn't care about status, they cared about what worked. Scientists were forced to work with craftsmen. Francis Bacon called for those who know things and those who make things to cooperate. That handshake, the one song China never made, detonated the modern world. Penny universities. Coffee arrives in London. A cup costs a penny. Suddenly hundreds of coffee houses appear where scientists, sea captains, and inventors argue with anyone. Those rooms birthed the London Stock Exchange, Lloyd's of London, the Royal Society, and half the technology of the age. Ideas want to bump into each other. The coffee house let them. A government that mostly got out of the way. England only needed a navy. Everything else was solved by the market. And the navy demanded constant innovation, better cannons, better metallurgy. Feeding straight back into industry. Bismarck supposedly said on his deathbed, asked what would define the 20th century. North America speaks English. English institutions, planted in the biggest experimental farm in history, became the United States. America added federalism. Inventors could move between states, escaping any single set of rules. That's why Silicon Valley worked. And an alliance-based foreign policy, the Roman model, upgraded. The three codes, and why they die. 7 civilisations. 1500 years. Norberg pulls out 3 patterns. Every single golden age ran on them. Every collapse broke them. Code 1, openness. Outsiders, ideas, trade. Norberg says there are 2 sides of human nature, the merchant and the tribe. The merchant trades, explores, mixes. The tribe wants walls, purity, insiders. Golden ages are run by merchants. Collapses are run by tribes. Code 2, pragmatism and class mixing. Break the wall between thinkers and doers. Replace bloodline aristocracy with wealth aristocracy because wealth at least has to be earned. Song China lacked this. England had it. Code 3, decentralisation. Golden ages are messy on purpose. City-states, coffee shops, competing schools. No single authority deciding what's correct thought. Nobel laureate Joel Moker calls the fatal moment * Cardwell's law * every society is only technologically creative for a short window. Eventually, an elite gets scared, declares orthodoxy, and silences the weird thinkers. He calls it the Socrates moment, when a civilization would rather kill its philosopher than listen. Athens had one. Baghdad had one. Song China had one. The Dutch had one. So, are we having ours? Look around. Countries closing borders, Code 1 under attack. Populist movements telling experts to shut up, Code 2 under attack. Governments and platforms deciding which ideas are allowed, Code 3 under attack. All 3 codes. At the same time. But Norberg is no doomer. Every golden age in this book died. And a new one always started somewhere else. The lesson is not that decline is inevitable. The lesson is that decline is a choice. The choice to prefer the tribe over the merchant. Control over curiosity. Certainty over experiment. The good news? That choice runs the other way too. Every golden age started when somebody, somewhere said, * let's stay open. Keep trading. Let the weird people argue in the coffee shop. *, which brings me to you. Civilizations don't decide in the abstract. People do. In how they hire. Who they listen to. Whether they meet a stranger with curiosity or a wall. The merchant and the tribe are both inside you. Every single day you pick which one runs your life. Multiply by billions and that's whether the golden age keeps going. So tell me in the comments, Which of the three codes do you think our era is failing at hardest: openness, class mixing, or decentralization? I read everything. If this hit you, like and subscribe. It's the smallest thing you can do to vote merchant over tribe. See you in the next one.